the month of August when we get back to routines, get back to rhythms, whether your kids are still at home, they're 0 to 5, homeschooled, microschooled, regular schooled. August, there's this shift. And as we get ready for the all the months of all of the holidays, we were just talking about this morning. And what I noticed this year with back to school is it wasn't just a good first week. We have been continuing those routines, and it's because we've been doing this for years. And that first day of school was absolutely incredible, probably the least stressful first day we've ever had. I got up, and my oldest this year, he's going to welding school. So he was gone way before I even woke up. Went and woke the other two up who are in ninth grade and fourth grade this year. Then I went back to my bathroom to get ready. I come out and everything's done. Everything on the checklist that we have been using for years was completely done. That first day was amazing. What typically happens though is little by little as the weeks go on, the things don't get done in the morning and they don't get done for bedtime and they don't get done for after school. This year so far, we are 3 to 4 weeks in and these routines are finally sticking. That's what I'm going to talk about today is some back to school routines that we don't just establish for back to school time, but how do we maintain that flow throughout the year to decrease our stress and make it so that we can connect with our kids on a greater level and build more capacity into our schedules. This comes from a guest post that I published last year from my sweet friend, Emily McDermott from Simply by Emmy. She has an incredible podcast. I'll put all of her links in the show notes below. And also, I have a routine checklist that we have been using now officially, maybe it's 11 years, 10 or 11 years. The same exact one. I printed it out. It's a half sheet. I laminated it and it has been living on our fridge. And so I will grab that bad boy if we need it. And so far, we haven't really needed it because it's been baked into our kids' rhythm. But we have used it over the years and it has helped our relationship so much because I'm not constantly nagging what to do next in the mornings or right after school or right before bed. You can grab the checklist by going to the link in the show notes. Now let's get started in this episode. How are your daily routines or rhythms? Even if you don't think you have any, guaranteed you do because that's how the brain works. We are habit machines. The reason why I wanted to talk about this with back to school coming and just with behavior problems in general and what I see, routines are really, really important to keep stress levels down for everyone. I looked into the brain science about this a little bit before I get into which routines are important. And it shows, it's super clear that routines, especially for the developing brain, so for our littles, it helps so much because their brains need predictability. It calms their nervous system and it also builds the brain circuits that they need for self-control and focus. A lot of times when our kids are having behavior challenges, it's linked to these things of not having self-control or they don't have impulse control and they also struggle with focus. So it nails those two things. And then also, if you look even further into the brain chemistry, is routines reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and it helps our kids function better. I'm going to guess it reduces our cortisol too, because if our kids are super stressed out, that hijacks our own brains and causes us to feel stressed out and vice versa. Routines also help keep the amygdala quiet. The amygdala is the alarm system in our brains, and it also strengthens executive function skills, time management, organization. Again, I said focus, and it saves energy. If we are doing the same thing every day, my dear friend Jess Purgel over at Habit Stacking Mom, you should check out her podcast. She talks about this all the time, is that whenever we stack on to what we are already doing, it doesn't take our brain as much energy, and therefore we have more to give, especially at the end of the day. Have I sold you on routines yet? If you don't have them established, they are just really, really good for us to have. And this isn't about being rigid or making sure you do the same exact thing every single day. I mean, our brains also do like novelty and like spontaneity. It's just whenever we are looking at our day to day and see where we have a lot of stress. When I talk to parents, there are certain times of the day where it is more stressful. And it's usually because there is a lack of routine or rhythm in the day. And it's morning, after school, and right before bed. So those are the main routines that we're going to talk about, but there's two others too that my dear friend Emily McDermott of Simply by Emmy, she's the host of Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. If you're not listening, if you haven't subscribed, you should check out her podcast. I am hoping to have her on. She just said she would come on, and I would love to talk to her about decluttering because that's something that I really need to work on personally. And also, I have seen how much the mess and the clutter really impacts my relationship with my kids. For now, though, I'm going to just piggyback off of the blog post that she wrote for Raising Kids with Purpose for the blog last back to school season. And she shares the 5 must have routines that we need. As I revisited that, I was thinking, wow, we do have these. And this is why the start of the school year has not felt as overwhelming as it has in the past. Again, that's her whole job, is to help moms overcome overwhelm. And I'm very thankful for that. It had me thinking, though, about how we do these routines. First day of school goes really well. The kids lay out their clothes the night before and they do everything that they need to do. We get to school. And then day 2, they may not do one of the things. And then day 3, something else slips. And then day 4, something else slips. And then by the next month, we are running around as if our heads are caught on fire in the morning before bed, and the stress goes back up. So that's what I wanted to really focus on today, is looking at these 5 must-have back to school routines and how do we continue to get these routines working for us. How do we keep them going year after year, not just in August and September when our kids are heading back? The first routine is the after school routine. Emily suggests looking at your day and starting with the one that the part of the day that is the most stressful. For a lot of people, it is after school. Why is that? If your kids go to an environment where they're not allowed to move their bodies as much, which is a lot of schools and a lot of kids, it could cause them to be a little crazy or they're tired and hungry. Or if they're neurodivergent, they've been giving all day long and their tank is empty. And so look at your day and go, okay, which one of these should I focus on first? And for a lot of people, Emily said, with all of the many families that she has worked with, is after school routine is a big one. And it can just feel very chaotic. So her practical tip is to have healthy grab and go snacks ready that the kids can grab, whether if they get off the bus and come home, or for our kids, we go and pick them up. I will often have something in the car, or as soon as we get home, there's a healthy snack. And then also having some kind of transition activity, not maybe necessarily TV, because that can cause behaviors later. I mean, if TV is okay with your kids, for us, we can't do really any kind of technology. We transition. My one son goes and plays drums, the other reads a book, and they just allow their brains and body to calm down and to readjust back to home. Okay, so the second routine Emily suggests that we establish and have as back to school, and then how do we continue this, is the after dinner to bedtime. I've heard a lot of parents call this the witching hour. And why is that? Because it feels kind of crazy. After school might be crazy, and then they settle a little bit, and then they're tired. And that may look like a huge explosion of energy. When my kids were younger, this looked like running around, screaming, yelling, slamming into each other, wrestling, getting all kinds of stuff out now that they've gotten older. So if you have little kids, I'm going to give you some some encouragement that as their brains develop, as they work on these skills, as you really build a strong foundation in those early years, that the witching hour hopefully gets a little less witchy as they get older. But there's some things that you can do to help during that time with a routine or with a rhythm. And there's a really it's really great for the whole family. So what as you make dinner, incorporate your kids. I have a whole life skills blog post that I can include in the show notes as well, and a printable on what kids can do at different ages. I mean, I would argue and say that kids can do a lot of things that we don't think they can at very young ages. My kids have been using knives. I mean, they were kid proofed knives as young as 3 or 4, and I get them to help me with dinner. But the big one is that after dinner, let's reset the kitchen, is what Emily suggests. And I love this. What we'll do is throw on some music, dance. Everyone has a job to do. Just last night, one kid was washing all of the wooden cutting boards, another kid was sweeping, another uh, person in my family, my husband or I can't remember which one we did last night. We wiped down all the counters, but we just reset the kitchen, get the sink, all the dishes into the dishwasher, maybe run that bad boy. So then in the morning before they go to school, we unload the dishwasher. That's been a really awesome thing that we've added this year that keeps that flowing and not something, oh my gosh, we're letting all these dishes pile up in the sink. So we want to reset the kitchen and get ready for bedtime. Also, that after school routine, I forgot to mention, is having something that you do. So as soon as we pull in, now it's getting a little tricky because we now have different people picking our kids up in the afternoon. However, as soon as they walk in, the backpacks get hung up on the hooks in the locker. The shoes get put away in the closet. Actually, that's first, then the backpack, then the lunchbox. Ice packs into the freezer. Then the food gets taken out, gets emptied. I'm trying to encourage my kids to actually throw away all their garbage and old food at school so they don't have to do that here because it can make the lunchboxes kind of rank. And then what my middle son does, though, he puts the ice packs in the freezer and then throws his lunchbox back into the fridge, even if there's nothing in it. On Friday, or Thursday, was wondering, oh, this lunchbox is empty, but that's just been part of his routine. I guess that's better than him not doing it at all. So we just kind of meet them where they are at. And so that's just a really quick little stack, is what my friend Jess at Habit Stacking Mom calls them, for right after school. And then with the after dinner routine, getting ready for bed, you could also look, and check the kids' school schedules at that time while you're resetting the kitchen. This tip comes from Emily. And so that what needs to be done, what papers need to be signed. Uh, for my son this morning, they swim at school. They go to a micro school, and so they have a really nice pool, and it's hot as heck here in Arizona. It's really hard for them to go outside to play for recess. Therefore, his class, we were just told yesterday at the end of the day, hey, we're doing swim tomorrow. Make sure you bring their stuff. So I had him pack that. We have them lay out their clothes at night so they know what they're going to wear the next morning. And that sets us up for the next day. And this is, maybe they have gym, or they need to have, certain PE shoes or outfits or library books or whatever it may be. So work on that during your after dinner time so that you're good to go, you're not scrambling, and then that's going to set you up to have a much calmer morning. Then the third routine that Emily suggests that you really dial in is your evening routine. Now, what she mentions is this isn't just about the kids. As I said, we lay out the clothes, we get all of that ready. We do have a pretty good bedtime routine. The printable that you can download from mine, I have a morning and an evening. It's just very basic steps of what we do. There's even a section for you to customize it if what we do in the order is very different than what you want the order to be, and involve your kids. Ask them, what do you want to do after we get showered? For us, I have an alarm on my phone and it's very different sounding than any other alarms. It triggers my brain. It's time to start bedtime. That alarm goes off at 7 p.m. My kids don't go to bed till close to 8, 9, beyond, because I have teenagers. However, that 7 o'clock alarm triggers all of us. They hear it too. It's time to make some tea. We do a tea as part of our evening routine, our bedtime routine. Getting bathed, showered, getting into bed. We read books together. Sometimes we'll play a little game before we do that, and then it's lights out. And obviously, with my 14-year-old, my 16-year-old, I'm not laying with them and doing all that anymore. But with my 9-year-old, I am. And we still have a little ritual for connection right before bed, even with the teenagers. And so what Emily mentions, it's really important. So that I just talked about the kids. It's really important that we have our own little evening routines. Last night was probably the first night in a long time that my husband and I followed our evening routine. And oh my gosh, my watch told me I got 100. I don't even know what that means, but 100 is good. It means I'm like, my body battery is what it tells me. It's a Garmin watch. It's not connected to Bluetooth or anything like that, but it just kind of tracks my steps and my heart rate and all of that. And it told me that my sleep score was like a 93 out of 100. And I really think that's because we got all of this in place. We had dinner done by 5:45. We were able to play together and enjoy our time, got all of the things cleaned up, did all of our routines that I've just talked about. Then we were able to spend some time together. I did some Bible time, prayed, and we went to bed at a decent time. I think by 9:45 or 10, which is really good for us. And then that really set us up for this morning. And then Emily talks about the fourth routine is the morning routine. As I've mentioned a couple of times, I have a little printable that has 6, maybe 7 steps that the kids can easily follow. It is makes sense in our brains on what you do, what order you go in. And my son, who's autistic, he does this without any kind of routine chart. And we did use these charts when he was younger. And he gets ready so stinking fast. He is up, he's dressed, he goes to the bathroom, he eats his cereal. His morning routine, I think he can do it in about 5 to 7 minutes. And he goes in the same exact order every single day. And then it gives him some time to read before he gets in the car to go to school. So this is a routine that we've really nailed down, and it just sets us up for a much better day and much better relationship with each other. We're not just running around like crazy people trying to get out the door to school to make sure that we are there on time. I have seen the fruit of this with our 16-year-old who has to leave our house by 6:15, 6:20 a.m. to get to welding school. The first week was a little rough. He was having a tough time waking up in the morning, but I've seen we really don't do anything. He uses an alarm. He gets all of his stuff ready, and then he's driving now. So he drives himself to school, and there's no need for us to intervene with anything. And that's the whole point, right? We're not raising children forever. We're raising children who eventually become adults who need to be self-sufficient. The last routine that Emily shares is the weekly planning routine. This one, a lot of people probably don't think about. She does this on Sunday. I usually do this Saturday morning when I'm ordering my groceries. Saturday morning, I go and take the dogs for a walk. I come back, feed them, sit down, order my groceries. And then right after that, I pull out my planner and I plan the week. Then Sunday, we try to have some kind of family meeting, whether we're having dinner after church. We go to two, three of us go to church on Sunday night. At that dinner, we kind of just check our schedules and plan that for the following week. Or for Saturday dinner, we'll have our little family meeting. And I have some resources on that I'll put in the show notes as well. And what Emily talks about too is just having a check-in that could be with your whole family. As I said, we do it with a family meeting, map the week ahead, build in margin for anything that's going to come up unexpected. And this doesn't have to be long. I think I'm able to plan my week in about 10 or 15 minutes. It's because I have a pretty solid routine on how I do this, and I do it the same way almost every week. I actually just started adding it on to after I order the groceries. I also throw all the laundry in, and the boys do their own laundry on Saturdays as well. So we stack that all on Saturday mornings. And then by Sunday, we're finishing putting all the laundry away. Groceries are already stocked. We already have, you can meal plan for the week, figure out what you're going to have each day. And again, every routine that you put some intentionality behind or really look at what you're doing day to day, it's going to just help you feel less stressed, and it's going to give you more margin, give you more capacity to be able to really raise those kids with purpose. Okay, so then now that those are the routines, and so to recap, we have the after school routine. Again, out of all these 5 routines, pick which is the hardest for you right now and nail that down, then move on to the next. We have been working on this for years. So after school routine, after dinner routine, resetting that kitchen, your evening routines, number 3. Number 4 is your morning routine. I do believe that nailing the evening routine is more important and should come before nailing your morning routine because it's setting you up for that next day. For myself, as I said, I do some Bible time, I pray. I also set my clothes out for that next morning. I've noticed on the days that I forget to do this, I am less willing to go on my morning walk or go to the gym in the morning because it just feels like it's too much work. But if I can set it up the night before, that works way better. And then the 5th one is your weekly planning routine. You want to do this on Sundays. As you establish these routines, every Sunday you can actually look back and reflect and go, okay, where did we fall short? Where can we work on our routines? For us, our kids are still not doing all the things whenever we get home. And so it's something that we're going to keep working on. We worked on it all throughout last year. I do see it improving, but we're not quite there. Morning routine, we have down pat. Evening routine, we have down pat. So there's just certain ones that we need to work on. The after dinner routine definitely is one that needs some work as well. I encourage you to look at your day to day, figure out which one you need to work on first, and then start there. And you can go to the link to the blog post if you need some more inspiration. Emily shares some really awesome practical tips on how you can implement this stuff right away. And as I mentioned, I'm hoping to have her on the podcast. We'll maybe talk about decluttering, or there might be some other ideas of things that she wants to talk about. And I hope that these tips are helpful and that your back to school time is stress-free. Your kids are thriving, and so are you. If you're finding that that's not the case for you and you are looking for more support, I would love to chat. you can go to raisingkidswithpurpose.com/chat, and you can schedule a parent support discovery call, and we can talk through any of these things, from routines to your kids' behaviors to your stress levels being off the charts. Those are all the types of things that I would love to support you with. Okay, until next time, go raise those kids with purpose.